What's up again, everybody? Spoiler season is going. We got cards upon cards upon cards. This could be a long video. I'm going to try to keep myself in focus, not go too tangential, if you get what I mean. But I am going to try to explain these cards because some of them are a bit of like, they're more complicated and more interesting, and so some just warrant more explanation. Like our first card, which is Seek and Destroy, a zero-cost ranger action. This is not an elemental ranger card, it's just a ranger card. Blocks for 2, like most rangers things do in life, which is depressing, but the card itself is incredible. Red Zone Rogue made a really fun video for this, and you should go check it out. In fact, I should say this before I start any of these videos. You should always go watch the videos or the articles, read the articles of these spoiler cards. I always put a link to the Fab TCG master list. You should always go watch those spoiler videos and those articles because they break down their card not just with information that they've thought of, but also with information from LSS themselves, and that is a very important thing. But I will walk you through what I know about these cards, and this one's really good. Your next arrow attack this turn gets +3 attack, and if it hits a hero, at the beginning of their next in phase, they discard all cards in their hand and destroy all cards in their arsenal. Go again. So essentially what this means is that if you play this onto one of your arrows, if you play Seek and Destroy, giving +3 attack to one of your arrows, and then that arrow goes and hits, your opponent all of a sudden has an interesting next turn. They keep the cards in their hand that they didn't use to block with on your turn. They can play those cards out, they can play arsenal cards out, but if they have any cards in hand during their end phase, and if they have any cards in arsenal during their end phase, all of those cards will explode. They'll all go away. They will all disappear, be discarded. Look, my dog, he's like hanging out. You guys said you wanted more stuff in the background. There's my dog. There he is. All of the cards will explode, will go away, then they'll redraw at the end during their end phase. They'll draw 4 cards and they'll pass back to you. So they can't set up things in their arsenal with this card. They can't keep cards in their hand with this card, because those cards will all go away thanks to Seek and Destroy. And this is really good in Azalea because Azalea is, it's interesting because Azalea has always been one of those heroes that people have, and me particularly, I've done the same thing, have tried to make a go wide class, but her ability lends itself to a go tall, fire 1 big arrow. Maybe you play some attacks before that, but your goal is to fire 1 arrow, hopefully dominate it off the top of your deck, and usually with buffs. I mean, you look at like Increase the Tension from Crucible of War, you look at Arcane Rising's Take Aim, all of these things that give +3 attack to your arrows, just make the arrows stronger. You don't have to run Azalea as a go wide class, because as we see with this card, it's starting to become that Azalea is more about going tall, and that's kind of what her lore indicated anyway. And this card even just pushes that even further down that direction. Now, you still can run her as a go wide, fire multiple arrows, particularly with some other cards that we see spoiled, and we'll talk about later. But let's keep cruising, because if I keep talking about one card forever, we're gonna be here for a long time. Amulets. Let's talk about the amulets. Amulets were all spoiled by like ICV2, and this amulet was actually spoiled early. There was like a cold foil amulet. I guess it's gonna be one of those like, hey, if you buy a box, this is like the promo that you get. Amulets are really cool, and some of them are very powerful. Amulet of Earth is a 3 pitch. It's a blue pitch card, costs 0, blocks for nothing. It's an action, it's an item, so you can drop it and just sit on it. Go again after you play it, so that's really good, as opposed to like the energy potions don't have go again when you play them down. Instant effect. As an instant speed action, or as an instant speed effect, you can destroy Amulet of Earth. Attack action cards you control gain +1 attack and +1 defense this turn. Activate this ability only if you've Earth fused this turn. So Earth Fuse, again, Earth, like the fusion effect, that's what we can talk about. We now know what this fusion effect is. Essentially, if you want to fuse a card, you just have to reveal the type that you're fusing. Reveal one of those cards from your hand after you've paid the effect. So if you've Earth fused this turn, then you can pop Amulet of Earth as an instant speed effect and give all of your attacks +1, which is really good. Or if you're defending, you can give all of your defense, all of your attacks 1 defense to make them better blockers. So generally what that ends up meaning is that your 3 defense blocks all block for 4, which is really good to block that 4 breakpoint, like incredibly good to block that 4 breakpoint. So this is a not to sleep on if you are somehow able to like fuse on your opponent's turn so that you can trigger this effect and, you know, like be able to block. That's going to be the interesting thing, is like, how can we use this on our opponent's turn? Because if we can somehow fuse, then we can activate this effect and block for 4. That would be the most interesting thing. Amulet of Ice is beautiful. This card's so pretty. It also costs 0. It also pitches for 3. It says go again, of course. It says instant, destroy Amulet of Ice. Target hero discards a card unless they pay 2 resources, which is crazy. This one's absolutely nuts, because what you're doing as an ice control deck, what we know so far, this card just makes me so happy. What you're doing as an ice control deck so far is you are creating frostbite tokens, making things more expensive. You are, you know, blocking or stuff like that. But if you're attacking, let's say you're just playing more aggressively, you're attacking your opponent, they're choosing to block with cards from hand, or they're choosing not to block with cards from hand. You ice fuse on your turn, and you play some attacks, and then at instant speed, you tell your opponent, okay, you get another choice now. Here's your choice. Either you pitch another card away from your hand and you don't have access to it right now and you can't do things on your turn, or you discard it. Because either they can pitch 2 resources and not discard a card, but still lose a card from their hand on their turn, or they can just lose a card, period, end of story. This is such a good card, man. This Amulet of Ice is insane. I really, really like that, and it's frustrating that it doesn't block for anything, because that's its like main downfall. But the fact that you can play 3 of these, and it gives go again after you slam 1 down, is really, really good, and it's all at instant speed too. These amulets are really cool. Amulet of Lightning also looks beautiful. 0 pitches for 3. Same effect, go again in that sense. It says instant, destroy Amulet of Lightning, target action card gains go again. Activate this ability only if you've lightning fused this turn. So if you're playing Lightning Lexi, let's just say Lightning Lexi is a thing, which she very well could be, because you'll see some of these crazy lightning cards and like crazy elemental cards here in a minute. You can just give them go again. This is like it's like a weird potion that you slam down. You don't have to lose your action point to slam down, and then you just wait for when you need extra go again triggers so that you can pop off even further. This card is insane too. My goodness, the amulets are so good. We're just gonna keep going. We're just gonna keep going because I could stop and just talk, but I'm trying not to. So Entwine Ice, cost 1. This is very much to me, I'll tell you why in a second. This is very much to me like a really good draft or sealed card. It costs 1 on the red. It's a cycle. Blocks for 2 only. The red attacks for 5, so the yellow attacks for 4. Keep that in mind, because 4 is the good break point, and yellow is a decent one to pitch for. Blue would attack for 3, which is not great. Ice Fusion, so as an additional cost, in addition to paying 1, you can also reveal an ice card from your hand, and if you do, it gains Dominate. So this is a 5 attack that can gain Dominate. In Limited, this card is great. I also love that it's Entwine Ice, and we also have Entwine Lightning. And there were some people that were saying like this is the same person, and it very well could be, because if you could see his little staff, it's got like that little circular jut or cut, and that's the same thing we see here. But maybe that's just like a general design for Aria. Entwine Lightning costs 0. Red attacks for 4. Blocks for 2. Lightning Fusion, if you can reveal a lightning card from your hand. You don't have to pitch for this, by the way. So if you just reveal a card from your hand, this basically just gets go again. It's 4 with go again. It's like Scar for a Scar, except you don't have to have less life. You just have to show a lightning card from your hand when you play this. It's almost like a free version of the yellow... No, this is too far of a stretch. It's the free version of the yellow Flock of the Featherwalkers, except you get go again. No, that's not a very good analogy. These 2 cards are very cool, though. I think these are both super solid in in draft and sealed. And in fact, I'd say Entwine Lightning is actually a consideration for like a classic constructed or a blitz deck addition, because, you know, we've seen people play aggressive decks that include Scar for a Scar just because less life. This one, if you're playing blitz and you just want 4 attack with go again and you're playing a lightning deck, just makes sense. Invigorate, this art is incredible. This art is incredible. Like, just the way that they worked all of the elements around is so cool. Invigorate costs 0. It blocks for 2. This is a non-attack action card. It's an elemental non-attack action card. The next attack you fuse this turn gains +4. This is basically like Slogism. It's basically like, this is the crazy part. It's a cheaper what is the elemental Phantasmify? It's a cheaper Phantasmify. That's so gross, man. That's so good. The stipulation here is that you do have to play this card, have an attack, and have the ability to fuse that attack, and then most likely have the ability to pay for it. But getting a +4 benefit, if you can set that up, is super solid. So putting Invigorate into your arsenal and then waiting for the ability to string together the ability to fuse that attack that you want to play it on, giving this +4 is crazy. And there are some very good fuse attacks that you can do this with, and I think it's time to talk about some of those. Ice Storm, this is definitely one that you could do. And look at this, Ice and Lightning Fusion. This one costs 0, blocks 2. It's an elemental ranger action. This is a majestic, so it does not come in a cycle. As an additional cost to play Ice Storm, you have to reveal an Ice and Lightning card from your hand. You have to reveal both. So you play this down, pitching nothing, and then reveal an Ice and a Lightning card. If you do that, you'll get the fuse effect. But even if you don't do that, your next arrow attack this turn gains +3. So this is still a playable card in limited formats if you haven't been able to get a good base for Ice and Lightning attacks. But if you're playing in like Classic Constructed or Blitz or UPF, you can build around this one very easily to provide yourself the resources necessary to fuse. And if you fuse, your next arrow attack this turn gains, if it hits a hero, deal 1 damage to them. And whenever this attack deals damage to a hero, create that many Frostbite tokens under their control. This card is nuts. This card is so nuts. Good lord. You know what? You know what would be crazy? I don't even know if you could do this. Maybe you could. You play Invigorate. No, you couldn't, because you have to fuse the attack. If you could somehow stack Invigorate into Ice Storm into a fused attack, it'd be bonkers. Maybe you could. If you go Invigorate and then you play Ice Storm, showing an Ice and a Lightning, and then you had like the attack in your arsenal that's an Ice, and you pitch the Lightning away. Yeah, dude, you could totally do that with a 5-card hand. That's incredible. Oh my god. This card can do so many things. So by the way, I just want to talk about this for a second. There's some debate as to whether or not on-hit effects duplicate if you fire an arrow and has the arrow hit with an on-hit effect, and then the arrow also is given the ability to deal 1 damage. That is not the case. So just so that we all understand, when an arrow or when any on-hit effect occurs, it occurs after the card itself deals damage. So the way, I'm not going to go super deep into the weeds, that could be a whole nother video, but the way it ends up working is you've calculated the damage it would do, you've calculated how much your opponent is defending for, and then you deal the damage from the arrow, and in doing so you would then hit. Okay, that counts as the arrow hitting, which then triggers an on-hit effect. And in this case, the on-hit effect is deal 1 damage to them. Okay, the arrow does not then see that you deal 1 damage and sees that you hit again. It just deals another point of damage. Okay, and this is true of like the other cards we talked about yesterday with the arrows, like Buzz Shot, I think is what it was called, Buzz whatever, and then Frazzle. Those cards deal an extra point of damage after they hit, or they have the capacity to. But those extra points of damage, those are not another instance of it hitting, because the arrow has already hit, which is what triggered that effect. So you don't get this like double dip on the on-hit effect. That's just not how it works. What it is very interesting about this is it's not like blockable damage. So this deal 1 damage to them is not in any way, shape, or form something that your opponent can prevent by playing down a card and blocking it. It's also not arcane damage, which means they can't pitch and use Arcane Barrier to block it. It's basically unblockable damage, which is the best kind of damage. It's the best kind of damage. That's what that effect is. That's why that's so good. But it does not trigger on-hit effects a second time. Okay. Also, I do want to point this out. When the attack deals damage to a hero, create that many Frostbite tokens under their control. That, I do believe, would count the hit of the arrow and the 1 point of damage after the fact as well. I do believe that does stack in that sense, because the effects that we've seen from these previous arrows, the attack is the source of that 1 point of damage. And so that, I do believe, does stack with this card, which means if you can get an arrow to hit after playing Ice Storm, it's going to deal them a point of damage after the fact, after the hit effect, and it's also going to stack them up with multiple Frostbite tokens. This card's incredible. That card's insane. Light It Up is also really cool. This is the Lexi specialization. I love that it's yellow. I love that it costs 1. I love that it blocks 3. I love that it's 4 attack, which is right over that break point. I like that it's yellow, by the way, because I was kind of, after looking at the cards yesterday, I was kind of surmising that yellow is kind of a good color for Lexi, because it sits right in that range for a couple of her arrows for attacking for 4, but also allowing you to pitch. Anyway, let's look at her effect. This is a Lexi specialization, so you can't play this card in anything but Lexi. Lightning Fusion, so if you pay the cost to play the card, you can also pay an additional cost to show a lightning card from your hand. If you do, it gains, if this hits a hero, deal 1 damage to them for each equipment they control, which is interesting. If you play this early and this card is fused and it hits, then you could deal like extra damage, like a lot of extra damage, which is kind of crazy. Also, you get this next effect. If Light It Up deals damage to a hero equal to or greater than the number of equipment they control lose and can't gain activated abilities until the end of their next turn. So basically it would like turn off like Grasp of the Arknight. It would turn off, let's see, it would turn off the ability to take the counter off of the Tunic, right? Because that's an activated ability. So you can't take the resource or you can't take the counter off the Tunic and get a resource. You can't use Heart and Cross Trap. You can't... I'm trying to think of anything else that you could, like, any huge big effects. There's probably a ton. But the fact that it can just... Oh my gosh, it does so many things. This card does so many things. It's ridiculous. And the fact that you don't have to have... And I believe this is true. You don't have to have fused this card to get that bottom effect, right? The fuse portion literally just deals extra damage. And then the bottom effect will happen whether you fused it or not. So this is a card that you may just not really care about fusing. You may just push the 4, and then your opponent's like, I guess I block it so that I can use my effects on my equipment, you know, that sort of thing. So it's kind of an interesting card. There's a lot of playability in this one. Snapshot, oh my goodness. This card's incredible. This is a rare, and it is insane. It costs 0. It blocks for 3. The red attacks for 4. The blue attacks for 2, and the yellow attacks for 3. Lightning Fusion. So it's a lightning fuse card. Show a lightning card from your hand and get this effect. If it was fused, you can activate abilities of bows you control an additional time this turn as though they were at instant speed. So in other words, if you're playing, and this was the example used in the Lexi kind of breakdown, if you're playing Death Dealer, say you fire away at Snapshot, you fire a Snapshot at your opponent, that then turns on Death Dealer's effect as an instant and not as an action, meaning you can pay a resource at instant speed, load a new arrow into your arsenal face up, and then go again, refreshing your action point that you used to play Snapshot. So Snapshot doesn't have go again, but if you're playing Death Dealer, you're basically giving go again. Technically, you could do this with Redliner as well, because it has go again, I believe. But doing it with Death Dealer pays a resource and draws you a card. So this essentially allows you to do absolutely nutty things by giving your bow instant speed effects, and that is crazy. So again, I'll just break it down for you. If that was confusing, you play Snapshot, you pay your action point, so you don't have an action point anymore. Snapshot, you fuse it, so you reveal a lightning card from your hand, and it allows you to activate your bow an additional time this turn at instant speed. So you pay a resource on Death Dealer, load your bow with another arrow, and then go again, giving you an action point after you've finished the effect of the bow, which is crazy because then you also draw a card off of Death Dealer. Yeah, super good card, super nutty card. Hey, by the way, this card, beautiful art, and also, huge spoiler, Guardians in the set, man. Guardians in the set. Rotten Old Buckler is the first shield in the game. It's got blade break, so you defend one time with it, you defend for one, and it explodes because it's a rotten old buckler, which is super funny. Also, by the way, it says this, Guardian equipment offhand. Offhand is really interesting because offhand means you're going to have, on your offhand, your rotten old buckler, and then as a one-handed weapon in the other hand, you'll be able to actually do attacking. You can't do the meme with the two shields, though. You can't just walk around and just shield people. That would be really funny. I maybe they could make a larger one-handed shield that doesn't break after one, and that could be your weapon. They should do that just for the memes, because that would be hilarious. Just walk around with two shields, smacking people. That would be really funny. This isn't really interesting, though. I'm curious because what this does is it basically tells us we need to expect a one-handed guardian weapon. And if we don't get a one-handed guardian weapon, then this card's unplayable because you'd kind of want to run a weapon in Guardian. We are assuming that Anothos is still really good, and Anothos is a two-handed hammer, and so we're going to need a one-handed weapon in order to work with this. So I'm going to expect that we're going to see a one-handed weapon very soon, and we're going to see some Guardian cards very soon, which is exciting. Looks like Guardian was on the menu. On to the Legendaries. The Legendaries, New Horizon. This art is spectacular. I think the art is fantastic. This is our quiver, which is weird because I would have expected it to be like a chest equipment. But here it is as a hood. It's a ranger equipment head, blocks for 2. This is a legendary. While you have a face-up card in your arsenal, you have an additional arsenal zone. So basically, in order to meet this requirement, all you have to do is have a face-up card. And Lexi can do this very easily. If you arsenal the card prior on your previous turn at the very end, you can flip it up, reveal it, and do her effect. And then you can arsenal something in that second slot, which is really cool. Azalea, that's the interesting thing. So Azalea, you can do that same sort of thing if you used the ability to load your arsenal with the gloves. Why did I blank on the name of those gloves? I blanked on the name. Those are bullseye bracers. You can do it with bullseye bracers. You can do it with your weapon prior, and then you pass, and then you wait and then load on your next turn. You can't. The weird thing with Azalea is you can't do this with reload effects, because reload cards with a reload keyword, are looking for your arsenal zone being completely empty, and then they can do the reload effect. So in this instance, you wouldn't be able to have a second arsenal zone to reload because you've already taken up something in your arsenal zone the first way, because reload wouldn't trigger. That being said, I think this is more just straight up for Lexi, and I think Skullbone Crosswrap is straight up for Azalea. I know there's people that are saying you could interchange them, and yes, you can. Technically you could. Azalea could use this and then every other turn have 2 arsenal zones. It works out. I sat down and thought about that. And then Lexi could play Skullbone Crosswrap. Here's the thing, though. There's no point for Lexi to play Skullbone Crosswrap. Why do you care about opting? I'm trying to think of a reason. And in fact, the action of flipping the card face up with Skullbone Crosswrap to opt off the top of your deck, which you're never going to do anything with the top of your deck anyway, because that's not what Lexi does. She can't drop stuff in. But even just the act of flipping that card up means that you're not doing that with Lexi's ability and not gaining the beneficial triggers. So I don't think you run Crosswrap in Lexi, and I think you run New Horizon. And then I think vice versa to a certain degree. I think you can run New Horizon with Azalea, but you're more likely than not want to do the dominated arrow trick with the top of your deck for the other way. I like this card. I think it's really cool. I hate that it's Blade Break and that you can only block with it for 2. But I mean, if you look at the card, Like if it takes 2 damage, it makes sense like it would break because it's a quiver, you know, like a hood. Hey, the other legendary is just straight good. Shock Charmers. This one's so good. Lightning equipment, arms, doesn't block for anything. Isn't that good? Instant, pay 2 resources. The next time an attack action card you control hits a hero this turn, it deals 1 damage to them. Also Spell Void 2, but you don't care about the Spell Void 2. What you care about is the instant, pay 2 resources, not limited to once per turn. Essentially what you can do with this is if you just play this down, you just pay the instant cost at the beginning of your turn, and then you play an attack action card, it's telling your opponent 2 things. 1, if you block this out, you won't trigger this extra 1 damage. But if you block this one out and I attack you again, this still stays up because it says the next time an attack action card you control hits the hero, deals 1 damage to them. So it basically plays like the on-hit effect of Plunder Run. Plunder Run says the exact same thing. The next time an attack action card you control hits a hero, draw a card. This one says it deals 1 damage to them. This one it also says, hey, I am going to play an attack and I've devoted resources to Shock Charmers. Now if I want to, I can devote more resources to Shock Charmers too if you let this hit, which is crazy because like if you double stack this up, it's just going to start dealing multiple points of damage. It's just a crazy card. Like, it's hard to even talk about this because it's just so nuts. It's one of those I think that you have to sit down and really watch what happens with it because it can do some weird things. And I think I'm just still on that. I think I understand how this works. And then it gets crazier the more you think about it. It's a bonkers card. And that's that, everybody. That is like a ton of cards in one video. If this was too long, I apologize. Hopefully I can make it nice and succinct. Succinct, that's the word, not succinct. I don't know how that tripped out. Anyway, that's the video. If you guys enjoyed this video, if you like these spoilers, leave a comment down below with which one is your favorite. Tell me what you think about the amulets. How do you like the 2 legendaries we've seen thus far? And do you want to be the person that makes the number go to all 5s? Do you want to be that person? Because if you are, you get bonus points in my book. As always, everybody, thanks for watching.